A lonely guy walked through the night city, returning home from a local bar. He staggered a lot after drinking alcohol. He didn't care where he was going. The city is native to him, and his feet will lead him home. He was busy with more important business. He was thinking aloud. Why do I have such a life? I am 27 years old. My friends' children have already gone to school, and all the girls leave me in a month, and this is at best. Am I rough? No, I'm not rude. Although, no, I'm rude. A man should be like this. The only thing that I have succeeded in my life is business. I'm far from a millionaire, but I have enough money for a beautiful life. Suddenly, he stopped, clutched his head, and tears flowed from his eyes. I gave so much money to this doctor, and as a result, he says to me, I can't help you with anything. I will give you the address of a good doctor on this subject, but I don't think he will help you either. And I'm going to the doctor tomorrow. The guy walked up to the bridge. He looked at the dark expanse of the river and thought, maybe I should drown myself. The river is deep, and all my problems will disappear. He looked again at the river. No, I will not drown myself. I'm cold and my cat is not fed. I'll go home. He moved across the bridge and suddenly saw a very young woman in the middle of the bridge. She has a backpack with a small child on her chest. She stood and looked at the water, and suddenly she climbed onto the railing of the bridge. She stood on the top bar, spread her arms out to the sides, and Nolan ran to her aid. He managed to grab her by the waist, pressed her to him, and together, they fell on the dusty pavements. The child cried. Nolan screamed, instantly sobering up. Are you stupid? The girl replied, what do you mean? Why are you going where you don't belong? And she roared. Nolan nodded at the crying child. For some reason, it seemed to me that it was too early for you to die, and even more so for him. Get up and go home to your husband or mother. Who are your relatives? I have no home, no husband, no mother. I don't have anyone. Nolan put her on her feet with the child. Now I will have problems because of her. Come with me. I'm not going anywhere with you. What if you are a maniac? Nolan tugged at her hand. You are ready to drown yourself? But are you afraid to go with a maniac? Come with me. They walked through the city at night to the cry of a child. Finally, Nolan could not stand it. Why does he roar all the time? The woman pressed the child to her chest. He probably wants to eat. Then give him some milk. I have no milk. It suddenly disappeared due to stress, and I don't have money for baby food. And you have no brains either. Here, a night grocery store. Let's go get some baby food. The cashier and the security guard eyed the late-night shoppers suspiciously, but Nolan resolutely took the basket and waved his head to his companion. Let's go. He turned to the cashier and said, Where's your baby food? She pointed with her finger. There. They approached the window. Nolan ordered the girl, Take what you need. The girl took one package. This. Take more. Take as much as you need. Nolan waited while she put everything in the basket and asked, What else do you want? A smile crossed her face. Diapers. Take it. Can I get some wet wipes? Yes. They approached the checkout. Nolan paid with a card for the purchase. They reached the house and entered the apartment. The woman looked back. She shook her head in surprise, and the owner took off his shoes and went to the refrigerator, from where he took out the fish and threw it to the cat that ran up. Then he took out the juice and began to drink greedily. After Nolan approached the guest and began to point his finger. You'll spend the night in this room. Kitchen, toilet, bath here. I went to bed. And he went to another room. He stopped and turned to the girl. What is your name? Catherine. And my name is Nolan. She went into the kitchen, turned on the gas stove, and put the kettle on to boil. Looks like he's not a maniac. Oh, I'm stupid. Nearly drowned. If this crazy person hadn't intervened, What would the child and I be doing at night on the street? We would freeze. Tomorrow, he will kick us out anyway. Well, at least today we will stay warm." The kettle boiled. She ran to the room he pointed to. The girl put the crying child on the bed and took out a bottle from the pocket of her backpack. She ran back to the kitchen, cleaned up the bottle, and prepared the infant formula. Baby drank it all greedily, and he began to fall asleep. Catherine wiped him down with a damp cloth and put a diaper on him. He fell asleep. She went to the toilet and washed herself, after which she went back to the kitchen. And suddenly, the girl remembered that she had not eaten for a long time. She opened the refrigerator, took a piece of smoked sausage, and put it in her mouth. While the girl was chewing it, she cut off a piece of bread, sausage, and cheese. When the hunger subsided, the girl realized that she had acted with Nolan not too decently. She waved her hand, lay down on the bed next to her son, and immediately fell asleep. Morning. At night, the girl got up a couple of times and fed her son. He is 8 months old and is constantly hungry. She heard the owner of the apartment getting up at night, and now he woke up and got up. She got up carefully so as not to wake her son. "We have to go. Good things can't last forever." She was doing something at the stove. She quickly washed up and went into the kitchen. He nodded to a chair. "Sit down. I'm going to cook fried eggs." She slightly pushed him away from the stove. "You'd better sit down." The girl took out eggs, fresh dill, milk, and cooked an omelet. She looked carefully at the glasses and washed them well. She made coffee. All this time he was on the phone, ordering something to someone, arguing with someone. It seemed to Catherine that the man didn't notice her at all. He ate, drank coffee, and got up from the table. The woman tensed and froze in anticipation. "Now he will kick us out." "Catherine, listen to me carefully. I'm going on a business trip for a week now. Most importantly, feed the cat. Don't feed him any commercial food. He eats fresh fish and fresh meats. Don't come into my office. Do whatever you want in the rest of the rooms." Suddenly, a cry came from the bedroom. Catherine jumped up from her chair and looked questioningly at the man. He nodded to the girl. "Go." 5 minutes later, she returned with a child in her arms. A stack of money lay on the table. He nodded towards the money. "Think you have enough money for a week." I went. He took a step towards the door, and suddenly, the baby stretched out his hands to him and said something similar to Dad. Nolan must have imagined it, but for some reason, his heart ached so much because he would never be a dad. He said unexpectedly, even to himself, "Catherine, can I take him in my arms?" She gave him the child, and immediately a smile flashed across her face. "Take him. Have you ever held children in your arms?" "No." "That's the way to hold him." The child made some sounds of joy and merrily waved his arms. And Nolan was fascinated by this miracle. His face became gloomy and he gave the child to the mother. "I will never have a son." And he left. A whole week has passed. Nolan was returning home, and this good doctor told him that he would never have children because he was barren. He was in a disgusting mood. "Why do I need so much money? A 4-room apartment and a big car. The man has to earn money for the family. My apartment is always dirty, and my car has 7 seats." He went into his apartment with a gloomy face. Perfect cleanliness all around. A guilty smile was on the woman's face. Children's hands flashed before his eyes. "Dad!" The bag with the things fell to the floor, and his hands reached out to the baby. A few years later, they married Catherine. Nolan loved the baby very much and raised him as his own. It turned out that the girl's parents had died long ago, and the dysfunctional father of the baby abandoned them at an early stage of pregnancy. She didn't know what to do from hopelessness and how to raise a child alone, but everything changed after the evening she met Nolan. This is how a chance meeting brought together 2 unfortunate people, thanks to which they found happiness and love.